The following video was recorded on location in my state-of-the-art office in the corner of my first floor apartment. If you like what you're about to hear, please like, comment, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell in the upper right corner.
Hello.
Hi, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you for taking the time to do this interview.
Sure.
Oh, well, awesome. Well, of course, we're here to talk about everything that you got going on right now with a couple new releases this year alone. I mean, with the brand new Melvins album and the brand new solo album coming out in just a couple weeks.
Yes, that's true. Yep, Melvin's album just came out a couple weeks ago, I think, right when we started this tour. Mm-hmm. And we're playing some songs from that on this tour. And it's called A Walk with Love and Death. It's a double record. One of the records is more what we would consider regular songs. That disc is the Death disc. And then there's the Love disc, which is sort of a soundtrack. It's sort of a script for a soundtrack and a soundtrack within itself. So, and then there's going to be a companion movie that goes along with that. And that'll be done at some point. I'm not sure exactly how we're going to release that, but it's weird and psychotic and psychedelic and a total mind trip. Some people will be very scared of it and very turned off, and others will be very turned on and very loving.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, I love both sides of the double album. Yeah, I mean, yeah. It's, I mean, of course, the first disc has that patented Melvin sound, but in 2017. But you know, like going more into that soundtrack spectrum with Love. I mean, like you said, there's gonna be a lot of people that are turned off to it, but once they hear it in context to what it's about, I think it's gonna go over very well.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we could have just said, "Oh, this is just a noise record," and there's a market for that, and certainly we've done stuff like that before, and there's, like I said, there's certain people that like that kind of stuff, but I think that people will be more open to it if they realize what it is and what it goes along to, But again, it's not for everybody, and we know that. That's why it's a double record. If you don't like that, you'll like this, maybe. Most likely, if you're a Melvins fan, you would probably like the songs one for sure. If you're the most likely like casual fan or whatever. But so far so good. We've gotten good response. People seem to like it. I really like it. I like the songs that we recorded. I like the way we recorded them, which was somewhat different than normal. I did a lot of messing around with drum tunings and playing with plastic brushes and different recording techniques. And I also used my cocktail drum set for some stuff, which is this weird kind of little portable stand-up drum set that you can use for a cocktail lounge. It's got a unique sound. I used that a lot on my solo record too. I'd actually started the solo record right before we started recording Melvin stuff, and I was doing some of that with that, experimenting with different tunings. And there was one song on the solo record called "I Found a Way Out" that we did that with, and I'm like, hey, listen to this, what do you think? Maybe we could use this for the similar sound for some of the Melvin songs, and it fit perfectly. Definitely like the opening track on the Melvins record has that kind of a drum sound, and I don't know, I just really tried to play it kind of differently. Differently than I normally would. Not on every song, but especially that song or a song like Christ Hammer. It's for me, it's like not necessarily the way that I normally would play.
Yeah.
I don't know why, other than I felt it in the song. I felt it, man.
Yeah, and that's great. I mean, I was gonna ask if there was like a different kit or like an either small jazz kit or a cocktail kit going on the album, because I did notice those tones, especially like you said on "I Found a Way Out." Like I definitely noticed it was a more high pitched kit than I'm used to hearing from your.
That one's actually tuned down quite a bit. It's tuned down and sort of muffled, which actually gives it a more deeper thud to it. Are you a drummer?
Oh yes.
Right. You know how when you put like a muffle ring on your snare or something like that, all of a sudden it'll make the tone a lot deeper.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I was going for. It's kind of an old Beatles trick, but it's something that we never had really experimented with before. And Toshi, our engineer, wanted to try it too. Let's try this. We're always looking for something different and new that we hadn't done before that we could mess around with and that would maybe fit into certain songs.
Yeah.
Fun to do. Now we have our own studio, so we kind of have more of the luxury of doing stuff like that now, other than being on the clock. But even with that, we don't spend a lot of time. We don't waste a lot of time. Put it that way. It's not like I think some bands might if they're in that situation, might spend a lot more time than they would if they were on the clock. And sometimes that makes people lazy, but for whatever reason, it doesn't with us because we like to get stuff done. For the most part. Oh, and yeah. Usually we have a few things going on at the same time. Like the solo record, like I said, I was doing that pretty much at the same time as we're doing the Melvins record. And then I know that we had some other stuff that we threw in as well that isn't out yet, but will eventually see the light of day.
With that kind of pace, it feels like you would never need to leave the studio when you have that much creativity and songwriting going on.
It's fun. It's a fun place to hang out, and we always have a good time working there and writing and everything. It's really great. And then on the Melvins record, we had some guest stars come down as well. We had one of Buzz's golf buddies, who happens to play guitar in the Pixies, Joey Santiago. He came down and put some guitar on the song Christ Hammer, which I thought was really cool. It's him and Buzz dueling back and forth on leads, which I thought was pretty cool. So it was cool to get him on it. I think people would be surprised by that. Like, what? The Pixies guy plays on the Melvins record? Yeah, man. Pretty good.
Yeah, and that's one of my favorite tracks off the album too. Especially when I learned that it was like the dueling guitars like that, and it's just like it's just such a cool sound to be able to hear that in a Melvins album.
Yeah, for sure. And there's even some different tunings on this record that we've never really messed around with before. G seems to be the one. Keith Richards G. It's funny because Buzz came in and he's like, "You ever write any songs in G?" And I'm like, "Yeah, there's a couple on my solo record that I'm recording right now." He's like, "But the way he does it is he tunes the whole guitar to G and doesn't use the E." And I keep both E's the same and then make weird chords out of them. But certainly on my solo record, there's one song called Hillbilly Math that's like, it's a Stones influence for sure. It's kind of what I was going for though. That one would have fit pretty good with the band I play in Altamont that I've had for a long time. But I decided that I'd use it for the solo record and just write more songs for Altamont later. I like that one. It'd been in my head for a long time and I wanted to record it and get it out of my head. It was time for it to go. So been playing it too long. Like, I gotta record this. I can stop playing it. So that feels good. Pincus told me that one. Jeff Pincus, he's like, "Man, it always feels good when you got all these songs in your head, man. And then once you get them out, you can clear it out again and start all over." So that was really, really great, for me. So now I've got no songs. No, it's not true. I've got a few for sure. Yeah. I got a few for the next one.
Oh, very cool. So when you got that in mind, when you're coming up with a song, do you have like a particular band in mind that you're thinking of writing for it, or do you think about that afterwards when you have ideas going?
Mostly it would be for Altamont because that's what I've been doing for such a long time. But then I have these, some of the songs in the solo record I'd had that were like these acoustic songs, and I just didn't. I know I could have used them for whatever. It wasn't like, oh, this doesn't. We couldn't use this because it doesn't sound like it. I'm not afraid to do something like that. But I just thought, well, these would be good for a solo record, And they came out really great. They came out better than I could have imagined. Partially because some of them I had Steve McDonald play bass, which is great. A couple songs I knew like he would do a really good job, and he has a Hofner bass with flat round strings, kind of like McCartney or whatever. And I'm like, I think I want that sound on this song. I think that would be really good. We'd been doing this thing where I was using my cocktail kit, and both he and Buzz were using really small amps, and Steve was using his Hofner, and we did like a couple performances along with the Melvins movie that came out, the documentary that came out, and just the sound of Melvins songs on a Hofner bass is like, that's really cool. I've always liked that sound. It's that it's that Beatles sound, and so I knew like, oh, this would be really good for it. Try this, and then so it sounded great. It ended up making the song sound more Beatlesy than I would have envisioned, but that doesn't bother me at all. Came out great. I'm really happy with it.
Yeah, I mean, that's the great thing about being such a well-rounded musician as you are and being able to work with such well-rounded musicians that you don't feel like you have to be pigeonholed in a particular style. And if you want to have like more of a Beatles influence on a song or two, you can do that and still keep that integrity.
Yeah, I don't mind. I figure I could do whatever I want.
Yeah.
I mean, for sure, for the solo record, that I knew that, well, you should have some drums. Since I am a drummer, I mean, I didn't want to be like, oh, the drummer from the Melvins, which drums is his main instrument, which he's better at than anything else, has got a record out where he doesn't play drums, or it's all weirdo pop songs that don't sound anything like what you want him to play. And how the whole thing started anyway was that I had done this crazy record with Joyful Noise, and it was their idea. I'd done some drum stuff with them before with like a trio of drummers, but they had this idea. They're thinking of weirdo ways to make vinyl, and they came up with this idea of doing a 12-sided, actually not 12-sided, but 12 cuts on a record. So not just 12 songs that play continuously. It's like individual cuts, because the record has 6 spindle holes, not just one. So wherever you set the spindle hole down, there's going to be a groove that goes along with that hole. So your record will look like it's on the turntable wrong, and it's going to play warped, but it won't. And so they did the same as 12 of these short little weird cyclic drum cuts on it. And since they handmade the thing themselves, they only made 100 because it took like about 45 minutes to an hour to make it. One record, each individual record. So, it sold out right away, and a bunch of people got pissed off about it. And I'm like, well, okay, what we'll do is I'll include a solo record. And people was like, yeah. So we did it. And I think, I'm not sure what, I had done a song with them before that was like a split, this band Quee. It was more like a regular song. And they liked that. And so I think since it was more songs, they got really excited about it. Enough to go, let's do a video. And we got all these other really crazy ideas too. There's more stuff that kind of weird, cool collectibles. So, but they're really into goofy ideas, and they're happy that.
Oh, you still there?
Hello, can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, now I can hear you.
How long did I lose you?
I think it was at the tail end of the sentence. It was only about like 5-6 seconds.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I really love those creative ideas, and it's great to be able to have a label like that really wants to expand upon those ideas, and it's going to help with the creative aspect as far as music writing goes as well, when both of those ideas can come together like that.
Yeah, sure, exactly. So, yeah, they're a great label. They've been really supportive, and I'm glad they're into it. Hopefully we can do some more of this. I'd like to, for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
Keep it going.
Yeah.
Keep my extracurricular activities going.
So, with that in mind, is there like any plans on like being able to tour behind the album, or is it just more Melvins focused right now?
Well, yeah, I mean, Melvins right now we pretty much are touring until mid-November. So I think any shows that I would get to play would be sometime after that. But then we're also getting into holiday territory. So I would imagine if I'm able to do anything and put something together, that it would have to be after the first of the year. So,
very cool.
Originally, we didn't have plans to tour with the Melvins at this time. We thought we were going to be busy with this other thing that we did called Crystal Fairy.
Yeah.
But we're not. So it didn't happen with everybody's schedule. So we ended up kind of scrambling to finish the Melvins record and put it out. And then we booked a giant tour. So it wouldn't have quite played out like that originally. I probably would have had time in the summer. Well, we were hoping that Crystal Fairy was going to be touring, but the way that I had it all scheduled out would be Crystal Fairy record would come out, my record would be out, there would be no Melvins record out right now, and the Melvins record would be out later. So unfortunately that thing happened, and my record was already scheduled and in the books for the record label. So I figured, well, it's still fine because I'm going out on tour. People can still come see me, see what I do best. Maybe after the show I'll busk out in the alley and play some solo songs.
Oh, very nice. So, yeah. So with that in mind, I mean, had things gone the way that it was originally supposed to go, would the album have been completed in that time? Would you still have written it in the same time frame with the Melvins?
Yes. Yes, that was always the plan. Was that we were going to have a Melvins record done and in the can, and then mine. I mean, I had mine planned probably about. I'm trying to think. Probably about a year ago, I talked to those guys, and we kind of nailed down a plan of when I was going to do it and when it was going to come out. So it was too late, you know. I might have held off a little bit and waited, but it's fine, you know. I'm fine with it. But yes, eventually I want to do some sort of shows in some capacity. You know, I would like to find. What I would like to do is have a band, but then also have a drummer who was a multi-instrumentalist that we could switch off with, you know, and also play together with. But I don't know. I'm not exactly sure yet. Still thinking about it.
Oh yeah, definitely a lot of cool ideas that can happen, and that's the great thing about having time to be able to plan it is that you can come up with all these ideas and try to make them fulfilled.
Yeah. And then my only other problem is like, can I sustain a touring band and you know have it work? You know, obviously I can't hire a bunch of people to go out on the road and then sorry, you know, there was only 50 people here tonight and I have $25, but we could all have sandwiches. So that's the other thing too. You know, it's got to work somehow. But I would like to do it. I just got to figure out how to work it.
Oh yeah, I mean, when it comes to that, I mean, there's so many things that could go awry, like not as many pre-sales or not enough promotion from the promoter side or whatever the case is. But you know, it's just like being able to figure out the demographic that's going on and be able to find like the right time frame to be able to put all that together.
Exactly. I know I can do shows close to home and not worry about it, you know, maybe some major cities or stuff like that. But, you know I don't want to go out and lose a bunch of money, and I certainly wouldn't want to have band members be in that same situation either. So, you know, with the Melvins, it works, you know, because we've worked our ass off for the last 30 plus years doing this, and it never stopped. And it kept going, you know. We've got that much work on it under our belts already. So, you know, but yeah, I really want to do it. I'm really excited to do it, and it's going to happen at some point. For now, hopefully people will just enjoy the record.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I know I'm definitely enjoying it. I mean, I love the fact that you are able to have those drum beats in between as segues into the other songs. I mean, I just have the digital version of the album, but I really love the layout of everything on it. So I think it's a really cool idea with how you went about it.
Thank you, because that's exactly what I was going for, so thank you.
Oh, of course. And of course, the brand new Melvins album as well. I mean, I love that you guys were able to not just have to focus on one album at a time, and you guys were finally able to put out a double album that are two completely different styles, but so very Melvins as well. Yeah, absolutely. So with that, I know you've been able to play a few songs off the new double album. How have those songs been going over live so far?
I can't tell. I don't think people quite know them yet, you know? I mean, people like it, but you can tell that they're like, oh, what is this, you know? Whereas, like, you know, if we play something like The Bit, everybody knows it, you know? But, you know, it's just come out, and hopefully people will want to buy it up if they see us live. There's one song on the record that's actually a pretty old song. It's actually from early 90s called Euthanasia. And we'd been playing that live last year with Steve. And we realized, well, you know, that's really never been on an official album. It's only been on like a compilation. And then it was on like a tour flexi disc that we did years ago that I don't think we could barely even give them away. We thought people would want this flexi disc a long time ago, but nobody really cared. It was kind of before the whole vinyl thing too, and vinyl was dying out. But so anyway, we put that one on there. And people seem to know that one, and certainly old fans that know it.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up about Euthanasia as well, because I noticed it did have like an older Melvins feel to it, and having not been able to hear that song live yet, I mean, I was wondering if that was like one that was held over or not, and it's cool to see that song was able to make the rounds and make it through onto this album.
Yeah, exactly. And then we're playing it live now too. We're playing live. We play 3 of the songs off the new record, and then we always do kind of we'll do some old songs, and then what we consider middle period, which is within the last like 10, 15 years or so. There's a few songs we're playing that we haven't played in a long time. Oven is one of the ones that we're playing, and so far people seem to really like the set too. We've had a few people that have been kind of long time friends of ours that are like, wow, I really like this set a lot.
Yeah, and I'm glad to hear that because, you know, it's a massive undertaking with how many releases that are under the Melvins moniker to be able to pick out the right set list. So, I mean, it's great to know that after all this time, you guys are able to pick the songs that you want to play for a tour and it goes over well.
Yeah, and that's something that we always think about. You know, we work really hard on constructing a set list and like figuring out what works and how it should flow, and you know, working out all the kinks before we even go on the road. You know, trying to get it down really good. You know, so there's certain bands that don't like doing that kind of stuff. You know, for whatever reason, they think it takes away spontaneity. But I mean, or they get, you know, they feel like they'll get bored playing the same thing every night. But I mean, you know, for us, we look at it as more like a performance. You know, it's like if you were going to have a play, you wouldn't change the scenes around every night. Well, that doesn't make sense. Well, now that doesn't make sense. You know, so that's how we do it. The whole thing makes sense. You know, and it's supposed to be one big thing. And I think we just think it's better. You know, I think the audience gets a better show that way because we watch bands who have done that where they just like, oh, change the set list every night. It's like all of a sudden like your drum solo's in the second song. You know, well, that's kind of weird. You know, or it just doesn't work. You know, for whatever reason, it just doesn't flow good, and then it just kind of kills the momentum of your show.
Oh yeah, and there's nothing wrong with having a static set either, and it does go over different every night because every crowd for every show is different, so it's always a new version of it.
Exactly. So, you know, we always say, like, you know, we're in Fargo, North Dakota tonight. Fargo is going to get the same show that we play in New York City. You know, it's not like, oh, we're in Fargo, we'll just play these shit songs for these people because we don't care. It's Fargo, who cares? You know? No, we care, and everybody gets the same show, and they get the same energy from us every night that they would anyplace else, you know?
Yeah, and it's great to see that after all this time. I mean, there's been bands that have been around just as long as you guys that really phone in their performances and they're just out there just for the money. They don't care what they do as long as they have the same fan base playing the same songs over and over. But with you guys, I mean, you really take the time to be able to craft the shows and to make it a very fun night for everyone that wants to go out and see you on every tour, and that is so appreciated.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, we want the money too, but we want it to be good. Yeah.
Well, yeah, you want to be able to keep that integrity and make the fans happy as well.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, we don't want to look bad. You know, we know that, you know, we've been a band that has pretty much relied on being a really kick-ass live band. You know, people like our records, and we have those, but you know, you're not going to hear our records on the way that we sell records is by going out on tour, making that happen. You know, there's no place where there's videos being played or radio stations that are playing our stuff, really, you know, besides, you know, independent ones or college ones or whatever. But yeah, you know, it's got to be good. If we sucked, it'd be over. People wouldn't care. People wouldn't come. And we know that.
On a related note, when it comes into the live shows, what are you currently playing for a setup right now?
Right now, I have a Thomas Silverstar kit that's you know, pretty regular. It's a 22-13-16, and I actually got the kit 5 years ago when we did the Melvins Light tour. You know, normally I have really big drums, but it wasn't going to work for Melvins Light. You know, playing we had a stand-up bass player, and those guys were basically playing through combo amps. So I needed something smaller, and not as monstrous, but. You know, I kind of want something different. I've actually got two kits that are coming, two twin girls, champagne pink sparkle drum kits that are 24 by 14, a 13, and a 16. And I cannot wait. They're Maple Star Classics coming my way.
Very nice.
Yeah, I got one. We're going up to Europe. There's going to be the European version, and that one is going to be there when I show up over there in the fall. But for this tour, it's still being shipped. Probably still in a boat someplace in the middle of the ocean. But I'll eventually get it. I can't wait. I'm really, really excited about them. I thought about it for a long time about what I wanted. You know, and thought about the color too, and like looked around, like pink. And it was great. The guy from Thomas said, "That's really great. There's only one other drummer that has that we endorse that has the champagne pink sparkle. It's a guy from the band called the Foals." So I was excited about that. No heavy metalers want pink. So it's perfect. Fits along with our thing too.
Yeah, and it makes everything stand out more. I mean, when you have those kind of bright colors on a kit, I mean, it's going to be more viable to be able to see that from the audience perspective.
Yeah, exactly.
but no,
so
that's...
I can't wait. I've been dreaming about these for a while, so pretty excited.
Oh yeah, I mean the Silver Stars are great Tama drums, but when you are able to upgrade to the Star Classics, I mean that's just a whole different level.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, the Silver Stars have done their job. They've played hundreds of shows on them now. So time for new ones. Time for new ones.
Do you think that's going to be like much of a challenge for you at all? Like having different sounds like that? I mean, do you feel like it's going to take a while to get used to the Star Classics once you get them in your hands?
I don't think so, because I've got an old Gretsch with the same exact sizes that I use, and that's such a beautiful old drum kit that I have in my collection. So I kind of wanted to have those sizes. I've had a lot of different sizes over the years. Like my kit 10 years ago was 26, 16, 20, 22. So having something different is always good. And it's I guess it'll be something that's kind of in between the kits that I have now.
Yeah, and that's the great thing about being a drummer is that it's like you can't always change much, if anything at all, when it comes to like melodies and harmonies. I mean, all you can do is the percussive accents of a kit. So when you are able to change up the sizes like that, change up the cymbals, and it really does inspire creativity that way.
Yeah, for sure, absolutely. I like changing stuff around every once in a while.
Yeah, I mean,
it makes it interesting, and I don't know, it's like you get to a point and you're like, I think I want something different now. Really, that's mostly what it is.
Yeah, I mean, if you would have kept that same kit when you were doing the Melvins lights, I mean, it would have sounded like timpani drums that are going over with all the acoustic stuff, and it just would have like taken over the sound.
Exactly. Though I think I did record some. I know I recorded some of the Melvins light with my Tama Babinga, so it doesn't matter too much recording, really. You can kind of use anything. Sometimes I use smaller drums for recording, and nobody's ever noticed. It's funny because people will notice Buzz's guitar, and it's only like they'll say that it sounds different somehow. And it does a little bit, but it's kind of in their mind. Like, oh wait, he's playing this weird guitar, he's not playing the Les Paul, and he's playing a different amp now. Oh, it's all weird and different. No, I mean, he still plays like himself and sounds like himself. Doesn't really matter. It's not the gear. It's the person playing it. So, and then, like I said, nobody's noticed. Okay. Nobody's noticed with me. Like, hey, wait a minute, you're not playing big drums anymore. But yeah, because it still sounds big, doesn't it?
Yeah, and it proves that point where it really comes down to the artist being inspired. And, sometimes it does take, like for guitars, like trying a new gauge of strings or a new style or adding a string or whatever. But with drums, being able to change up that setup and just getting that new creative aspect to it. I mean, some people wouldn't even notice that there's like different sounds to it. But as long as you feel inspired and not feeling mundane, I mean, that's a very important thing.
Yeah, exactly. But then there's guys like Charlie Watts who've been playing the same drum kit for years and years. His drum set's really cool. He's got this. I had a chance to go look at it not too long ago. I got a friend who's his drum tech, and I always thought like, oh, it's a really cool Gretsch, like natural wood color Gretsch, and he shows it to me. He's like, no, look at it. It's natural wood, but it's because somebody stripped off the whatever covering was on it originally. You can see two different tones in the wood on the floor tom, and it was some kit that he rented from SIR and liked it. He rented it for a recording session and liked it, and bought it from him, but you could tell it was like, the hardware is different on it, like somebody's messed with the bass drum hardware and stuff, but it doesn't matter, it still sounds good. But I was laughing just because, like his hardware is ancient. He's got this Rogers hi-hat stand that must be at least like late 60s, maybe early 70s, but I'm guessing 60s. And then his drum throne too is like one of those really old school tripod, like super thin throne top. See, sheets that's ripped. It's all ripped up, and I'm like, I said to my friend, like, he knows there's like newer, better stuff, right? He's like, he just doesn't care, you know. He likes this stuff. He's had this stuff for a while, and he's set in his ways, and that's that, you know. Yeah, doesn't change too much, even his symbols, you know, like that's some symbols that he's had forever. Oh, and I like the fact too that like he had a ride, but it was a flat ride with no bell, and then he didn't have any crash symbols. He had just China symbols.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot that he had that set up for a bit. I mean, that's really cool to see that in like such a long-standing band like the Stones being able to go with that approach.
Yeah. So whenever anybody gives me a hard time about my China symbol, I always say, well, it's good enough for Charlie Watts, the Rolling Stones. You think you're too cool for them? You know, so China's it's got a bad rap because it's kind of like the heavy metaler type of thing.
Yeah.
So I seem to make a lot of faux pas in my drumming. I wear drumming gloves. I play China cymbals, and I use a headset microphone like Sammy Hagar. And I don't care.
Exactly. I mean, you got to be.
I just don't care. This is what works. This is what sounds good. If you don't like it, don't care, don't care, don't care.
Yeah, I mean, that's what's important. I mean, you got to be happy with the equipment that you're using to play live or in the studio or to write music or whatever the case is. And as long as you're happy with what you got, that's what matters.
Yeah, I'm just, I guess I'm not turned off by that stuff. I'm not a hipster where I couldn't double bass too. I can't understand why everybody doesn't have it. You know, it's like, you don't play drums with one hand, do you? You know, you have 2 feet. Why wouldn't you use both of them?
Yeah.
You know, you don't hop around, you walk. You don't run. You don't run on 1 foot. People just think it's like, for like playing 16th notes really fast. But I mean, I've never used it like that. Hardly ever. I use it for more other stuff, fills and shit like that all the time.
Oh yeah. And to me, that's way more creative when you're able to use 2 bass drums like that, being able to use them for like fills or different patterns or something like that, rather than just doing 16th or 30 seconds or trying to see if you can hit 300 beats per minute.
Exactly. But then, a lot of people don't know history of it either. It's like Louis Bellson's the guy that came up with that. Jazz drummer. He wasn't a heavy metal drummer. He was a jazz drummer.
That's right. Yeah, and there's been so many great drummers that started because of Louis Bellson with that double bass approach, and it's great to see like all the different styles that have come from double bass playing like that. But it's just like with your approach, I mean, with more fill focus, more pattern focus like that. I mean, to me that's always drawn me more because it really shows a lot more cool technique rather than just doing something very simple like 16th notes.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Well, awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking all this time to be able to talk to me about everything that you got going on right now.
Well, thank you for talking to me.
Oh, no problem.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. There's so many great albums that have come out from you this year alone. I mean, whether it's Crystal Fairy or Melvins or your upcoming solo album coming out in 2 weeks. And, just like all these great things that you're still able to do, going out with the Melvins right now, going to be playing a great show tonight in North Dakota. And, just like after all this time being able to say that you're still with this group of musicians, with the Melvins, and being able to tour as much as you are, the crowds keep coming back. It's really great to see that.
It's great. We're really we don't take it for granted at all. We feel that we're very happy that people care, and things are better for us now than they ever were. And I guess that's just from us, like being persistent, not quitting, and trying to make something good.
Yeah, I mean I've always found it to be better to have that slow rise to the top rather than get to the top right away and then fall immediately. I mean, when you're able to keep pushing on the way that you guys have, you do have that legendary status.
Yeah, it's managed to work. Somehow it's managed to work. So.
Oh, awesome. Well, before we wrap things up here, is there anything else you'd like to mention that I haven't brought up yet?
Well, there's also Red Cross. I'm the drummer in Red Cross, which Steven is from Red Cross is the Melvins bass player at the moment. And we've been doing stuff too. We're actually taking those guys to Europe with us. So Steven and I will be doing double duty. Australia as well. And there's also going to be there's a almost live series 7-inch coming out on Joyful Noise with those guys. So there's that too, and we'll probably do. Hopefully, we do a record as well with Red Cross. So all kinds of good stuff.
Oh, very cool. Yeah, I'm excited about that. I mean, it's great to see that that's going through, and yeah, I mean, once you guys are able to get like full material out for an album, I can't wait to check that out.
Yeah, they've been one of my favorite bands for a long time. I'm really happy that I'm playing with those guys. Oh. It's been a total blast.